Dream maker Neptune is going to head into direct motion after being retrograde since June. He's going to do this on December 3rd while he's in a square to Venus and conjunct asteroid Nemesis. Dream maker Neptune going into direct motion is a time when you can begin to forge new visions, new dreams, new imaginations of what you wish to have, experience, and create in your life. And to do that, this time with a little bit of participation from the goddess of love. Let's talk about how this might play out in your life over the next few months based on your rising sign, most accurate. Sun sign and moon sign can be listened to secondarily. If you're new to my channel, my name is Lori Lothe, and I am a Hellenistic astrologer. That means I'm using traditional ancient astrology tools and techniques. The most important one would be whole sign houses. Second of all, I like to use minor asteroids. You'll be hearing me talking today about Nemesis. This is an asteroid that has to do with Avengers, the Avenger for crime, the righting of wrongs. And we're going to talk a little bit about that for the collective and how it might play out in your life with support from Neptune over the next few weeks as well. And finally, I'm also going to talk a little bit about what does it mean when Venus is squaring Neptune, because normally Venus and Neptune together are dreamy, magical, and enchanting, but there is a square here, and how that may be a little bit of cautionary note to be careful about a few little details here about being too hopeful, too enchanted, too optimistic about something in your own life, and just keeping your rose-colored glasses off to the side for a little bit. Also, if you're new to my channel, welcome. And don't forget to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you're watching me live in my premiere, welcome to the premiere. And we'll be reminding you to hit the like button and help the channel grow. It's an algorithmic game, guys. And when the algorithm likes me, YouTube shows me to more people. So it's just a game. If you want to play the hit the like button algorithmic game, it does really support the channel. And then therefore I am supported in my living as an astrologer. Okay, we're going to talk about this, and I'm going to talk about the big picture, like the whole world. And then we're going to talk about you for your rising sign. But I hope you can stick in for a little bit of the basic info here about what Neptune is: imagination, visionary, mystical, and magical. And what happens when he retrogrades. He's been retrograding since June 28th. Every year he's retrograde for half a year. I want you to think of Neptune like a glacier moving very slowly, or a fog rolling in very slowly, very slowly. And this is a magical fog. It's a fog in which you can sort of impress your dreams and your wishes and unconditional love and connection to God and higher inspiration. All of these things can be brought into being through the higher, more sublime, angelic qualities of Neptune. All right. Because often he's involved in enlightenment charts as well. But on the other hand, he's also the other side of the coin, the addictions, the escape from reality, the illusions and delusions that we're capable of. And when he was retrograding since June 28th, it's like, imagine that the fog of our imagination and what we wish to have and what we hope for and our, highest visions is the fog that rolls forward. That's forward momentum Neptune. And then he rolls back that fog in his retrograde, because he goes back over the same degrees where we've been wish fulfilling, and we can see what's really there. So we may be like in the fog, oh, look at that, it looks like an enchanting castle in the distance, and then the fog rolls back and it's an old shack and it's been abandoned and it's full of roaches and stuff, and you're like, oh no, wrong thing. It looked better in the fog. But on the other hand, if you're kind of a psychonaut, somebody who goes into alternate dimensional realities, is big on their dream life at night, or does psychedelics and stuff like that, because dreams at night can be very Neptunian, trance states, shamanic trance journeys, theta wave brain states. If you're really into that kind of stuff and you use it properly, Neptune's a really good ally. And for some of us, when the fog rolls back, we're not seeing anything like a shack. We are seeing the castle that we were creating in our awakened imagination during Neptune's forward motion. So he's just about to go forward on December the 3rd. And this is going to give us a chance as he goes forward to hatch new dreams and visions. And yet there's a couple of things to be conscious of. As he stations to go direct, he's stationing in a perfect conjunction to the asteroid Nemesis. Nemesis is a feminine goddess of the ancient world. And she was really known as a goddess. First, when we think of Nemesis, like, oh, that person's somebody's nemesis, we always think of it in a really negative context, but that's not how Nemesis was seen in the ancient tradition. She was an avenger of crime. And she was also somebody who could definitely balance the scales of justice. And in fact, let me read this to you. So the word nemesis originally meant the distributor of fortune, neither good nor bad, simply in due proportion to each according to what was deserved. Okay, so that's a neutral kind of dispenser of fortunes, right? She's got some wings, by the way, and a sword in her statues and stuff. So she's got this kind of idea of meting out justice, right? And then later on, she got more associated with a punishing quality, right? Wielding a whip or a dagger and, out there to like make sure all the wrongs are righted. There's a really cool poem from this ancient guy. I can't say his name. He's a Greek guy. And he's, by the way, what does he say about her? Adamantine bridles that restrain the frivolous insolences of mortals, All right. But, you have to think about this. Neptune is the god of things that are already illusory or deluded or escapist or manipulative or deceptive or misinformation or whatever. And lies as well, especially with Mercury around. And during this time that he's becoming visible, he's also doing this in a square to Mercury and white lies, fibbing, confabulating, not very good at the truth in terms of details. Mercury, right? Mercury sitting beside Venus. And then Venus is at 22 degrees. This is a degree of the station. All right. And she is also squaring Neptune. Now, when Neptune is in a good relationship to Venus in somebody's chart or in the real-time sky, it's like enchanting. It's rainbows and unicorns and delicious art and high love and unconditional love. And it's dreamy and it's sweet and it's mystical. And it's every good Disney film you've ever seen. And it's like Mary, Mary Poppins and, a whole lot of sugar makes something go down. It's just like very nice, right? And, it's extremely creative and extremely spiritual energy. That's the good news. But there's a square to Venus. So this can be like the delusional love. And in fact, one of my favorite books is Ren Butler's The Archetypal Universe, which I keep talking about. And he says the shadow qualities of a Neptune-Venus contact, which we're going to have because you're looking at this idea to be cautious for in the weeks to follow, the idea that you could be deluded in money and love stories, basically, because Venus can be the ruler of both of those things. So in the love story, a Venus shadow quality with Neptune would be starry-eyed romance, mirages or illusions, rose-colored glasses in love. I'm reading from Ren's book, urge to worship people or be worshipped, over idealization of love and love stories leading to disappointment, yearnings for romantic and courtly love, being lovesick, an inability to accept the ending of relationships, unconsummated love, unrequited love. In other words, an oath of love simply has no force. That's a cool quote. So you can see that there's a downside here. So just know that, right? Just keep your rose-colored glasses off to the side. Don't get sucked into that idea that everything you think is true about this person in front of you is true. And then finally, I want to talk about the Sabian symbol, but not on a long depth story, right? It's just that it's on Shala. Sorry, Venus is on Shala. I apologize. To get back to Venus a minute. The Sabian symbol is a symbol of a materializing medium giving a seance. Wow, that's a pretty wild one. A materializing medium giving a seance. So, there's two sides to that. Mediums giving seances can be the real deal, and mediums giving seances can be charlatans and hucksters. Also, we're talking about communicating with the dead. So also, what does that mean for this particular station? Will this be an opportunity for us to discern things to do with the veil between the worlds? Maybe for some of us in our lives, that will be true. It depends on what's going on in the Pisces corridor of your 12 pi slice natal chart. Venus, though, squaring Neptune is on the stinger Shala, the stinger of the Scorpion. Okay. Now, this is the same place that, say, Vladimir Putin has his natal Mars, FYI. And Vladimir Putin's terrified of being poisoned. And, the stinger of the Scorpion tail is poisonous. And Venus is on a tail of something that's a poisonous dart or jab or sting, right? And she's squaring Neptune. Now, Neptune has a lot of meanings, but he is a god of diffuse illnesses that are viral. He can do that, as well as waterborne illnesses. There could be something going on with Nemesis you know, the goddess, the avenger for crime, the bringer of justice, that kind of thing, to situations that were unjust, where we're going to see something in the news cycle to do with justice and fairness and the reporting of information, Mercury, that may or may not be realistic or true, because Mercury's not in the best shape in Sagittarius, to do with stories around things that are sharp and stingy, right? So this could be stories around politics, Biden Hunton's laptop, if you know that's what's going on right now in the United States, because the Republicans are going to want to investigate that. This is true for the next few months, because this is about a baked in beginning of Neptune going direct that influences him till he goes retrograde again about 6 months later. So those stories could be ouchy in the storyline. We could expect over the months ahead some stingy stories about things to do with pandemic measures, maybe, or medical procedures, maybe, I don't know. And, you know, I'm really tired of people telling me that I am somehow evil, bad, and wrong for anything I say, that I'm trying to interpret the sky stories in the context of germane and relevant things that are happening in the world today. So no, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. You know, all righty. I think I got in big trouble recently in one of my videos. I probably should just take it down, because I think people are actually trying to report me to YouTube. And I don't want to get into what's going on there, but I might just take that video off to avoid any kind of demonetization on my platform. Okay, so you got the gist, right? Now I'm going to show you what the sky looks like, and I'm going to do your sign. And remember, this is general astrology. We're talking about everybody under the bell curve of the rising sign Aries, rising sign Taurus, sun and moon secondarily. If you don't know, this is not going to be like, you need a real reading looking at your real natal sky. Because if I was talking about a Venus transit and your Venus is very challenged in your natal chart and very weak, and maybe you're born at day and she's not your beneficent sect and a bunch of other factors, it's not going to be as amazing for you as it will be for somebody else who doesn't have those conditions. Okay, so just understand astrology, what is it? Bespoke. You need a bespoke experience of your chart. And it would say, come to me, but I'm booked up until sometime in February and cutting my chart readings way back. But, you know, I may end up putting some other astrologers on my website, and who I admire, who are really good young astrologers or new astrologers, and passing some business on to them eventually. I am like Astrolata, Lada and Shiva. We're both Aquarius rising, several planets in Aries, and we tend to just want to share the love with others anyway, but it's hard for us to do everything alone sometimes. All right, now, anything else I want to say about this? I do feel that when the retrogradation happened, like just think of a glacier retreating over old ground or the fog rolling back, you may think about, since June 28th or so, what areas of your life where the Pisces corridor is, and I'm about to show that to you. Did you manage to go and see what's real and get out of the delusion and illusion and have a clarity and a realism on some of the things that you were dreaming into being? All right, because now you're going to dream new things into being. This is the new zone of dreaming for you. So let's show you the chart so you know what it looks like. And there we go. I don't know if you guys can see that. Can you? For some reason I can't. Oh yes, there it is. All righty. See what I mean? This is what the sky looks like, simplified. And this is Neptune up there in Pisces. It's because it's a Cancer rising sky right now. And there's Venus sitting next to Mercury. And, you know, basically Venus is the one in the perfect square and Mercury is nearby. And yeah, Mercury is a news cycle, information, communications that are diluted or confusing or not necessarily reliable. And I didn't draw Nemesis in here, which I could have, but she's sitting here with Neptune. In fact, you know what? Why don't we add Nemesis into the story? Give me a minute and I will do that for us. So you can actually see the asteroid in here as well. Give me a minute. I'm just changing the settings and my preferences. And I'm adding Nemesis. Preferences, displayed, add extra points, back into the software. And this is a minor body. It's an asteroid and it's Nemesis. Give me a minute. You'll love it. You'll actually get to see that there's something in the sky, not just take my word for it. Nemesis. There we go. Add. Done. Now let's see how that looks. There's Nemesis. Wow, little horns on Nemesis' head. Look how perfect that is. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's do each sign, talking about the themes of where you're going to dream new dreams over the next several months as Neptune is going back into direct motion, and where, he's just rolled over, a few degrees. And in fact, he doesn't move very far. He was at 25 degrees when he stationed retrograde in June 28th. And now he's at 22, right? So it's like, there's not a lot of space that he's been traveling during that retrograde. And so now he's going forward at 22 degrees. He's going to cover some of that old territory, but now he's rectified your confusion, right? Your confusion delusion has been rectified. And now you're going to see more clearly as you dream create wherever Neptune goes. Manifest, yes, to some degree as well. And not like all about the secret necessarily, but Neptune can be harnessed for that, visualization, manifestation thing. Hope you didn't see the name of that client. Okay. Let's fix this. To move it to Aries. All right. So I'm one of you guys. This is for the Aries sun, moon, and rising sign people. For you, this is this area of your sky, the 12th house. If you don't know the meanings of the houses, check my meanings of the houses PDF in the description box below. It's free. And join my Cosmic Moonshine newsletter. Get a bunch of freebies and discount codes and stuff and contests if you join my newsletter. But you can see that this 12th house is a place of, first of all, aversion to your first house. You can't witness it. So it's not very readily available to your conscious mind. But it is a place of your dreams at night. And it is a place of your meditations. It is a place of your subconscious. It is a place of insane asylums, hospitals, incarceration, aloneness, solitude. Neptune has been going through here since the end of 2011. And this is a place where you've been up leveling your spiritual life. However, if you have had addictions as an Aries, whether it's alcohol or weed or Netflix binging or whatever, escapism, basically, this has been a challenge for you since 2011. You've been working out the ironing out of this part of your story, and you'll get a chance to finish it up when Neptune is completely out of there by 2026. Now, this story now is about where are you potentially forging some new dreams or going back over some of the old dreams that you started that you'll be reinvestigating since the end of June that have a lot to do with your inner life. For me, I can remember going back over some old enlightenment textbooks that I've been reading. I started to get fascinated again with enlightenment stuff back about the beginning of the retrograde at the end of June. So for you, this could be also a similar story about going back over old ground of something to do with God, truth, wisdom, mystery, unconditional love, dreams at night, addictions, escapism, and really, really beginning to go forward on an area that you've already cleared some terrain and let the fog roll back, and you saw what's worthwhile, what's real, what's not real, right? During this time of the retrograde, for me as an example, I ended up quitting wine for like 2 months, basically, and for various reasons. One of them was COVID, but that's an addiction, and I pulled way back, and I covered new ground, of like, hey, this wine that I thought was just so wonderful isn't working with me anymore. So think about that kind of thing as well. And then Nemesis is sitting here. In other words, just the dispenser of appropriate justice, everything in its own balance. Gotta love the number 22. It's a master number, but it also signifies balance, right? 2 11s fit in a 22. And so, where are you looking now for a new level of appropriate balance, a sense of the right proportion to things when it comes to your escapist tendencies and habits? Finally, watch out for delusional love stories still because of that square to Venus. This may be an ongoing challenge in the months ahead because Venus is in the house of foreign lands and foreign shores, courts and legal cases, educational settings, campuses. But Venus, goddess of love, and Neptune, that's quite the enchantment, right? And yet you may be bedazzled and be deluded and confused So don't take at face value love stories that involve these themes of foreign lands, educational places, courts, legal affairs, things like that, because it may let you down. So keep your eyes quite open with that, especially with Mercury there. This could be a silver-tongued devil, girl or guy, you know, enchanting you with amazing stories of how wonderful their love can be. And it may not be true, or it may not be true enough for you to invest your time and energy into it. Rather than start off with the rose-colored glasses, I'm advising all Aries, when it comes to love from foreign shores, educational settings, things like that, just look closely. And also the ninth house is book publishing. And so if you're signing contracts around that or finding agents, be really careful on that fine print. Be really careful that this not all promises, and that this is a true opportunity, not one that has loopholes that you're not paying attention to. Taurus, sun, moon, and rising sign. In your sky, this is a Neptune moving direct, giving you a chance to plant new dreams and visions for your long-term goals, right? The 11th house can be the future-oriented long-term plans you have, including, by the way, this is the house of your greater gains, of great financial gain and reputation gain from your 10th house of career. So there's this kind of way to dream new dreams, to plant new visions, to imagine new territory for your career gains, but also this is a house of your groups of friends. And if you were deluded about any friendship and you had an illusion that you've been working to clear your eyes and see clearly, who are your allies? Who are your real friends? Because I know a Taurus rising person and Taurus sun person who had a big disenchantment with somebody they considered to be a friend since Neptune went into retrograde motion in June 28th, and helped them see more clearly as the fog lifted that, oh my goodness, this person was not an ally or true friend. So keep that in mind. But now you can forge new dreams, new hopes, new friends. Excuse me, post-COVID, post-flu, new optimism regarding new friendships. And also, Nemesis is here, but don't forget, Nemesis can be about everything in its proportion, meeting out justice and balance. So again, if there was a friend who was a disappointment or some betrayals with people who said they were your ally and they're going to benefit you in some way and they didn't, there will be justice proportioned, especially if any of the disappointment involved money. Now, Nemesis can be about just the right measure of justice, not like vengeance, right? So don't forget, she got moved into a vengeance goddess position, but she wasn't always that. And so you might find that rather than vengeance, you're going to have just the right proportion of fair justice dispensed around financial issues or secrets regarding friendships and social groups of belonging. Now, Venus in the 8th house, that's the money house. That's why we're talking about money. This is shared resources, debts and loans and mortgages. Watch out for the dreamy, unrealistic financial story, Mercury, that's being presented to you as a panacea or cure or somehow going to be wonderful, because it may not be. And so just be careful of that. Pull off those rose-colored glasses around stories to do with money or secrets within love. These stories have to be more investigated. And with Mercury here, this is the markets, the stock market, mercantile merchandising, just for you Tauruses. This is not a good time to go for an investment, especially early on here in the first week or so of December. But just as a cautionary note, over the several months that follow, this is kind of baking into the temperament of this direct Neptune. It's a warning to not be unrealistic and fantastically imaginal regarding money. This is bank loans, mortgages, spousal money, business partner money, tax rebate money, credit card debt money, loan money, investment money. Okay. Big chunky money in the 8th house. You need to definitely be more cautious here over the months that follow. Gemini, sun, moon, and rising sign. You are looking at Neptune on December the 5th after being retrograde since June 28th, moving forward in your career house and your reputation house and your visible actions in the world. So if you are a housewife, if there's such a thing, or a student, then that's your visible career role, right? It's the thing people notice you're doing in the world. So that's your 10th house. And this is Neptune, which has been here since 2011, the end of the year. So you've been going through a lot of confusion and a lot of uncertainty and a lot of hopes and wishes and sometimes delusions and illusions around your career. And now this is more of an opportunity starting on December 3rd to move forward, to be able to connect to a new dream, a new vision, a more true vision for your career and your reputation part of your sky. However, because there is also a square to Venus in the house of significant others, particularly committed relationships, long-term love relationships, as well as business partnerships, be also very careful that some of your dreams and wishes that you're putting into the ethers here, especially when it regards to your visible reputation with that person, aren't founded on shifting sands of wishful thinking. And, Venus here, she wants adventure and love. She's baking in a bit of like, have the feeling of bold, faithful, hopeful, adventurous love over the months that follow, with some support from Neptune for maybe some soulmate loving coming in, and yet be cautious as well because it is a square. And you have Mercury here, the god of the messengers, but here he can be about legal documents and agreements. If there are any legal agreements and documents over the months that follow that connect to your work or connect to your career or your action path in the world, definitely have someone look them over. It's kind of baking in the potential for deception or, shady dealings and legal business contracts and agreements with the one you love being not necessarily believable. Okay. Oh my God. I'm so sorry, guys. This is like the flu aftermath. All right. So now, what could Nemesis do in your 10th house in terms of apportioning something in balance? Now, she is also Nemesis, right? Like we always think of it, somebody is our nemesis. I mean, you don't have a lot of room to get away with you being the one offering deceptive, delusional stuff in your 10th house of career. I have a progressed Gemini ascendant, so I got to be careful here that, like, being a truth teller, in my view of truth, on YouTube land doesn't get me deplatformed. Really, that would be that kind of the nemesis. It's my nemesis that I'm so transparent about what I think is going on in the world regarding power structures and stuff like that. And, there's a lot of us astrologers who know better. All right. I'll just say, Ladin Shiva, Cam White, me, we know what's really going on. And we sometimes say it on our channel, and we are at risk of demonetization. And so it is a tightrope walk that some of us astrologers are walking. And so I have to be cautious with this Neptune Nemesis thing, that it won't be my nemesis, my undoing, that I get punished because of my truth speak, so to speak, about what I think is really going on. Now, that's the other thing. For all of you Gemini people, Mercury wants to speak broad brushstroke truth in Sag, ideally, right? Big, true, bold, meme-like statements like, I have a dream, or go big or go home. But it is no way to tell you what the details are, how to do the go big or go home. Where is the instruction manual? So again, what persons in your life can be doing that? Or if you have an audience, marketplace, or clients like I do, the 7th house, you have to be careful. People like we have to be careful, Gemini rising folks, not to dispense a bunch of big, broad truth bombs into the world without any detailed follow-up to prove it, so to speak. All right, so that's about it. This could be good if you're a single Gemini for a bit of a dreamy soulmate romance. Just keep your rose-colored glasses tucked away in your glove compartment and make sure you're seeing what is true and what is real. Cancer, sun, moon, and rising sign. In this story, Neptune, after being retrograde since June 28th, which is stationed at 25 degrees, is now going direct at 22 degrees. And technically, he will go direct. That still shows retrograde, but he's direct on December 3rd. And he's going to go direct conjunct Nemesis, the god of justice, for imbalanced situations, right? In proportion to, and the avenger of crime. Now, look, this is a legal house. This is courts and judges and legal matters and stuff like that. So for some of you, if you've been embroiled in any legal contentious issues, and it could just be also very simple things like ninth house can be visas for travel and stuff, passports, but this could be a chance for things to move forward. And you've been dealing since the 28th of June with this like fog rolling back. Maybe what you saw was what you needed to know in order to present a better legal situation or a case or court case for your benefit. But this is about foreign travel and foreign lands. And Neptune would love to be on a dreamy Piscean beach somewhere. And maybe some of you Cancers wouldn't have minded that. But since June 28th, and the fog was rolling back and you were looking at the possibility of that, you saw through the illusion of that and how escape to a beach isn't what you need right now, for example. And then you see that Venus which is on that stinger shallow, which I forgot to mention for some of you, but I mean, it's for the collective really, but the Venus on the shallow poison stinger, also this could be the stinger of verbal truth because Mercury is also on the stinger here with Venus. What stingy truths could be coming up for you in your 6th house to your 9th house axis? And this can be about your debts, your work situation, your health challenges, and 9th house factors. 9th house factors can be like, this could literally look like a legal matter revolving around debt that is trying to be resolved in your favor. And there's some ouchy, stingy stuff going on that you have to watch out for. Now, if you have a job, a job, then that is your 6th house. And if, especially if you have a workplace with colleagues and coworkers, Venus and Mercury on shallow can be stinging words from a coworker in early December. And this can be an ongoing sort of looming theme about gossip about you or negative comments from a collegiate or coworker space. And, you may be feeling that you can't trust those people and you may have your rose-colored glasses off and you're maybe thinking like, those people in my work environment don't have my back. I'm going to be careful what I tell them so that they're not gossiping about me. Okay. For example, just an example. And the 9th house here can be about your spiritual belief, and Neptune, oh my goodness, Neptune is asking you to get out of the religious and into the mystical. And it reminds me of that song, Into the Mystic by, somebody, you go check it. It's called Into the Mystic. You're trying to find your mystical self and you're trying to get away from religion, especially hardcore structured dogmatic belief. And that's been true since 2011. And so this is a really good spiritual transit. It's very possible that this is going to open up some kind of new spiritual vision, spiritual attainment, enlightenment episode of some sort. Just watch out. As I said, there's karmic debt energies in the 6th house. There's coworkers who may be saying one thing to your face and something else behind your back. And there may be difficult challenges even with a landlord or a tenant as well. And it may have legal repercussions in your months that follow. You have the capacity, however, with this Neptune direct motion to dream into being something fresh and new in your 9th house. And you vision for a getaway trip to a foreign shore, and you vision for a novel or a book or something you want to write. 9th house is book publishing. New vision for your belief and faith and your worldview and how God works. All of that stuff is quite possible in this time frame of the next few months as Neptune goes direct. Leo. So, oh, wait a minute. If you're in my chat box, it's always about the Leo time, I remember, and we're watching on the live premiere together, and you're in my live premiere chat with me, please don't forget to hit the like button. The more you like the like button, the more the YouTube algorithm likes my channel. The more it likes my channel, the more people find it. The more they find it, the more I'm in a sustainable income source. Thank you. Appreciate you guys. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. I might need to take a hot tea break, honestly, because this flu is now day 7. or 8. I'm over the worst of it, but it's the lingering cough. Leo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Leo, sun, moon, rising. Well, I mean, Neptune is stationing direct, been retrograde since June 28th in your 8th house of other people's money, spousal money, shared resources, investment money, inheritance money, just chunky money. And bottom line is that this has been a confusing place for you anyway, since the end of 2011, as Neptune moved through here. Bet you any money you've been having hard times in your stock investing. And it's very diffuse and foggy, and best to invest in video, metaverse, things to do with film industry or art, really, with that Neptune placement. But nonetheless, this has been a challenge, I'm sure. Now you've got this time where you can move forward with a new vision with your 8th house stuff. And that can include stock investing, can include also your visions of how you wish to connect to your deeper layers of your own psyche. It's a very deep house to do with your identity. It has to do with archetypes and psychology. Neptune here is really good for past life regressions, hypnosis, connecting with alternative, healers and stuff like that. And yeah, you've also got this idea that you've got Venus on Stinger Shallow with Mercury in your 5th house of children. I mean, this will literally be some sting coming from your children. So some difficult conversations maybe with them or a lover, right? And these also, the energy here can be like deception from that lover, an attempt to pull the wool over your eyes, or a child's attempt to confabulate, fib, or to not tell the truth about something. Now, even though this is really happening in the first, few days after Neptune stations direct, it's almost a baked in signature for the next few months, the next 5 months or so. So until the next retrograde. So know that in general, you have to be cautious and clear-eyed and clear-minded around communications and honesty and transparency with your children and your sexual and lover partners in your life. And if you're somebody who's an artist or creative, this is definitely going to fire up your muse. And Venus in the house of her joy, and even in a square to Neptune, you could download some incredible new exciting ideas creatively if you're that type of Leo. Finally, this is a money luck house, and Venus is in her joy, and Mercury's god of tickets, of gaming, and like winning lottery tickets can be mercurial. So there could be the possibility with this of visioning forward some financial upswing in your resources through some money luck breaks. Okay. Just again, be careful that you don't overdo it, and don't certainly, take at face value any stock tips or any kind of Tinder swindler energy could be here, really. So be careful for that, especially with the Venus in the 5th house. And now, it's all about forewarned is forearmed. Virgo, sun, moon, and rising sign. Neptune has been retrograde since the end of June, but now is moving into direct motion. And in your sky, this is a place where you get to experience your significant marriage partner, the love relationship thing, sometimes business partners too. And, Neptune here can bring a soulmate in and a divine complement if you're single, especially, but anyone in this condition especially as a rising Virgo, back in end of 2011, Neptune came into this part of your sky. And if you really, depends on your age, really, obviously, but if you have any relationships that happened back in that time frame, then you might notice that you were easily deluded, confused, and maybe fantasized the best of the person that wasn't true, right? Sometimes you attract alcoholics or drug addicts with this placement, or people with mental health challenges. And my daughter, who's a Virgo rising, has had a few of those. I do like her current guy. And now that Neptune is direct, I want you to think about what kind of illusions and unreal expectations for a relationship may have been cleared up, and you become more realistic and less delusional since June the 28th. And now you can go back over the same territory, right, that Neptune retrograded on, and do it right. Do it with more clear eyes. That said, watch out for confusion around things to do with property, things, possessions in your home, real estate, because you have this Venus squaring Neptune from the house of your home. So legal contracts regarding property, land, and real estate have to be watched carefully in the months that follow. And go figure, and I try to do a video in a post-flu cough zone. If you live with any females, watch that they're not silver-tongued and telling untrue stories to you. You know, Venus loves her luxury items, and she's going through your house of home. Just be really careful. Don't go buy some luxury item that's a piece of junk, you know? I'm going to go get some tea. I'll be right back. If I don't get some tea, guys, I'm going to cough, cough, cough. Don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you. Subscribe, all the good drills. I'm back. I just guzzled a bunch of water, and let's hope for the best. Oh my God. All right. Where was I? Yes, Virgo. Okay. So that's about it. Okay. Just don't get any luxury possessions in the next few months that you realize on hindsight were duds. That's the best, the worst can happen with this thing, I think. Libra, sun, moon, and rising sign in your natal sky. The sun is starting to shine here in Vancouver. This is a story of you having this, the 28th of June rollback, the fog rolls back, Neptune retrogrades. You get to see more clearly some of the clear stuff underneath that fog in your health challenges part of your sky, sickness, health, things to do with work and work routines and the job and the work you do in the world. So keep that in mind. And this kind of thing, the fog rolls back, the fog rolls back. You're able to see more clearly, you know, what you need to do for your health, where you can't escape your health challenges and need to focus on them. And, you know, with Nemesis here, your own self-undoing sometimes, right? When you are literally not taking care of yourself, because Neptune here could be because you're, you know, a couch potato watching Netflix, because you are addicted to potato chips, because potato chips are great, but you know what I mean? Like, you've got some issues that could be very addictive regarding sickness and health challenges. And so just be aware that now you're going to see more clearly and forge some new dreams for better health, better work routines, better work situations, etc. At the same time, you've had nebulous health challenges, a lot of you Libra, since the end of 2011, when Neptune entered into your 6th house. And it also tells me that a lot of that health challenge can be, you can heal yourself with trance journeys and hypnosis and visualization, and you can use those tools as well. That's Neptune in your sickness house. But anyway, watch out for this kind of shallow stinger, ouchy condition of Venus, you know, squaring Neptune from the house of siblings, aunts, uncles, and cousins, short trips and travel, and the online world. And so you could get some stings from this part of the sky. And certainly in your case with Venus here, it could be female siblings. Watch out for that. And just watch out that you don't believe everything a sibling, aunt, uncle, or cousin or niece tells you that may not be true over the months that follow. Instead, put on a pair of clear glasses and toss the rose-colored ones away, and make sure that you're seeing clearly what that extended family member or childhood friend is trying to tell you. And if you have anything to do with learning, skills-based learning, or you're teaching something, also be very scrupulous and careful here about that content you're creating or the content that you're learning. Mercury in the 3rd house can be about study and research and learning something new. But of course, it's a little confusing sometimes when Neptune's here in Sagittarius, because it might look like a great curriculum on the surface, promising you all things in the world. And you get in there and you're like, wow, this is a really shallow curriculum. You know, it reminds me of a lot of people I know who, you know, bought into like stuff that the teachers of The Secret went on to teach, you know, and make a living up after that movie. Excuse me. And you know, it was a lot of promises like Barnum and Bailey, step right up, get your masterful manifestation course. And then we're all kind of jaded on it now, aren't we? Well, it's a little bit like that. You know, Mercury squaring Neptune in Sag from the 3rd house would be a lot of that stuff. So you might be like watching carefully not to go back into those kinds of teachings and learnings that you just in hindsight think, oh yeah, right. Good luck with that. It's not that simple, right? The reality isn't that simple that you can just abracadabra it with positive thinking into reality. Watch out for taking trips that look too good to be true. Neptune will give you the fantastical high idealized journey somewhere. Short trips and travel as a general theme in the months that follow. Just inspect the fine frigging print on your ticket and on your accommodation. You're baking in a confused Mercury here. Those details can be something that you regret by not looking carefully later on. And romantic trips especially. Make sure that those things are really well thought out if you are a Libra sun, moon, or rising in the months that follow. Scorpio, sun, moon, and rising sign. Well, in your natal sky, we see that Neptune is going to be moving direct on the 3rd after being retrograde since 28th of June. And now you're going to be able to forge new dreams in your 5th house of creativity, the muse, inspiration, children, pregnancy, romance, independent business enterprise. And, you know, Neptune's been here in this part of your sky for a long time. So some of your romances have been highly dreamy and fantastical. And some of your, in your children too, may have displayed those characteristics. Now Neptune is going direct. So if you're a single Scorpio and you're looking for love in all the right places, that's a possible signature for a yes to go ahead and look for your divine complement. However, watch out for confusion and unexpected sharp stings around finances, especially if it's to do with what you thought it was too good to be true money luck break, or an option for something in your business that looks like the payout should have been great. Venus in the 2nd, Mercury next to her, but the information when you look under the surface, under the hood, it's not as great as you thought it would be. The 2nd house definitely here is a speech house. And so speech itself, not necessarily yours, can be sharp tongued and spiky with that showless stinger there. You might have a difficult conversation coming your way in the first week of December, when this is baking in the possibility of this, that is an ongoing theme, that difficult conversations that could occur and difficult conversations around money. This could be money with your children, in conversation about money with your lover. Those themes can be very strong over the months that follow, because Nemesis is sitting here with Neptune trying to apportion justice as needed in the right measure, or sometimes the avenger of crimes. If there have been any financial crimes perpetuated against you, especially if you have your own business, then this can be rectified. But you definitely need to look at the fine print and the details of that kind of thing, with Mercury in the 2nd house of voice in his debility. Now, Venus loves beauty, and the 2nd house is the face, the throat and the face and the teeth and the mouth. And of course, cosmetic procedures are something that you might do when Venus is in your 2nd house. And yet Neptune is like, okay, promises, you know, is it real or is it Memorex? Be careful that you are very cautious around those sorts of things. If you're a Scorpio rising, sun or moon, secondarily, over the months that follow, that you are not deluded, especially with the scorpion stinger, which is poison. The 2nd house is things we put in our mouth, and Venus is squaring Neptune, and look, that's just like basically food poisoning. Okay. So, yeah, for sure. The first week of September, watch out for food poisoning, December, but more than that, like think about the months that follow. It's just baking in a theme, just as a station direct, really be careful. Like this can be overdosing on a drug, or overdosing on alcohol. So be really careful, Scorpio risings, especially around those potential mishandlings of substances that you ingest in the months that follow. Yeah, you can dream some new creative dreams. And this is excellent for songwriters or people who are creative to have that Venus square Neptune in this particular configuration with Mercury. It's really good for creative ideas as writers, songwriters, or people who are deeply artistic. Sagittarius, sun, moon, and rising sign, Neptune rolling direct December 3rd after being retrograde since June 28th in your 4th house of home, real estate and property, your domestic private life, your place of residence, your house of your mom, your mother, your homeland, your ancestors, your childhood. Neptune's been here for a long time, Sagittarius people. And since basically the end of 2011, you've been looking for your dream home, dreaming into a dream home. Could this be coming soon? Maybe. Certainly Mercury and Venus in your first house are part of you. You have the stinging sharp stinger in your hand. And what are you going to use it for? You though have to be careful that your own delusion around your own worth, your own attractiveness, your own persuasiveness, when it comes to things to do with property, home, and real estate, isn't over idealized by yourself over the months that follow. We're talking about the baked in energy that could prevail in the months that follow, as well, of course, as the first week of December. With Nemesis sitting on Neptune, it could also mean that somebody that you live with is your nemesis. You know what I mean? Like, and that would be that, you're getting your just desserts, but they're the one who brings the kind of balance and justice to the story. And, if that's true, and that someone you live with could be in your domestic environment a deliverer of the balanced, proportionate justice of something you might deserve. Okay. Watch out for that being connected to shifty dealings on your own behalf regarding money and love. Okay. All right, let's keep going. Anything else I have to say about that? I don't think so. Capricorn, sun, moon, and especially rising sign, most accurate rising sign. Remember, I tell you guys, rising sign's the best. Neptune is going direct on December 3rd and will be for several months, but he's been retrograding, rolling back the fog of delusion ever since the 28th of June and allowing you to see more clearly all the things you need to see about your siblings and your aunts, uncles, cousins, nieces, and nephews, and trips and travel, especially siblings. And this part of your sky is now clearing up. You've cleared up, you've seen clearly what you need to see, and you can forge some new, more clear-eyed dreams here. Now, certainly this is about traveling and taking journeys. And this is also about your local neighborhood environment and sometimes your childhood friends as well. So those are factors that are playing out for you as a Capricorn. And if you've had in your life at any point people who have been your hidden enemies or your secret enemies or people who wish you not well behind your back, that's that Venus Mercury combo in the 12th house. And that it could be, you still have to be careful for that, because this is like, okay, it could be like friends from foreign shores, love relationships in foreign lands, love relationships with people from foreign lands, women that you travel to foreign lands with, messages and news about barter or trade and marketing and merchandising to foreign lands. Okay, those are some of the Venus Mercury things in the 12th house. But certainly, people, especially women or a woman who may not have had your best interests at heart. And there's a stinger here, right? Ouch, the sharp tail of the scorpion, and it can sting you in your Neptunian endeavors. All right. Like you wanted to take that dream trip, but now there's something that's stinging you and you can't, you financially maybe, or or maybe you have a dream or an insight. Mercury is a dream god and the 12th house can be dreams, and you get some clarity, but you're also feeling stung by the clarity. I'm not sure. Your addictions, this is good. Neptune square Venus can be very much about those pleasures that we can overindulge in. And the addictions and self-sabotaging stuff of our life is the 12th house. You're your own wielder of the stinging scorpion tail of addiction. And this is definitely over the months that follow. Be cautious that you don't overdo it and even poison yourself through excessive addiction habits about things that you are doing that you shouldn't be doing in excess to escape, right? And certainly with Nemesis here, I mean, maybe a proportioner of justice is a third house person in your life, an aunt, uncle, sibling, cousin, who is like trying to whip you into shape, send you off to rehab, apportion some measured justice to the unbalanced situation. Mercury is the ruler of your house of legal agreements to do with leases, and be very careful around the first week of December and the months that follow. Read that fine print, especially if it's leasing a place that has to do with travel, or you've traveled to somewhere and you want to lease a place there. Definitely check out that fine print. Okay. Okay, this is me, Aquarius, sun, moon, and rising sign. Have we been going through it? But anyway, this is Neptune in our second house since the end of 2011. It's very foggy, very diffuse. I started writing my spiritual Awakened Dreamer spiritual blog, which was very popular in the day. And I was all into the enlightenment scene, and I was almost on Buddha at the gas pump. And you know what I mean? The whole non-dual reality shtick. And Neptune had entered my second house of earnings and voice vocation, calling the second house Pisces. And this is true for all of us who are Aquarians. We have this kind of Neptune unconditional love, high spiritual, lofty vibration in our second house. And you can work at a very mundane level. We could be making money in film, filmography, video, Hollywood, storytelling. These are other Neptune, imagination, hypnosis. These are other Neptunian ways to make money, second house, right? I am on YouTube videos and I make ad revenue, and that's Neptune in my second house. And this is going to be in play until 2026. So, but it's also hard because Neptune's got this very high vibration, and the everyday world of our paycheck and our earnings and our sustainability and resourcefulness is the second house. And there's not a lot of complementarity between let's all get mystically meditated and enlightened, and then let's make money. I've made some financial decisions based on enlightenment vibes when I was totally blissed out on God that it weren't ideal, right? So we all know how that goes. So bring this up now because Neptune, after being retrograde since June 28th in our earnings house, and what we eat and what we put in our mouth has gone direct. All right, so on December 3rd, add a few months. And my feeling here is, first of all, it's definitely good for clearing out addictions. This has been ongoing for all of us Aquarius, is to get rid of our addictions. And we've been going backsliding in and out of trying to remove addictive substances from our mouth and not ingest or drink those things. So this is good. Also with Nemesis here, a proportion of justice needed and meted in perfect proportion. There's balance coming to this part of our life. There's no doubt about it. One way of seeing it. And there could be some interesting developments, but be cautious around money and love stories connected to our second 11th house axis. Now, pennies from heaven and windfalls can happen in the 11th house. So there's that. Why the heck not? All right. But then Mercury out of dignity and Venus and Mercury on the shallow stinger can also be careful. Check the details out. What's the cost of that windfall? Is that a real windfall? Is there some thing you need to pay attention to, but fine print on the fine print of that windfall? I'm going to get a windfall. I can see it in my chart. I'll let you know what it is. And then I'll tell you what the fine print was that I needed to pay attention to. Now, friends and allies. Okay. Well, friends, large social groups, 11th house, allies, people who want to benefit you, benefactors. Well, this is a stingy, shallow sting. Ouch. From the 11th house. I mean, at the very mundane level, in the first week of December, don't party too hard. You could get alcohol poisoned or something at a big fun gathering. That's simple. But more than that, this is wait a minute, over the next few months, be careful around the sharp stinger in the 11th house of fame, the sharp stinger in the 11th house of the friends who are supposed to benefit you, but don't. All right. And maybe not be telling you the truth either because of that Mercury placement. So watch for that. That's there, and you have to be careful for it. And when it comes to love, I mean, this could look like falling in love with a friend or a friend introducing you to someone that you're falling in love with, and be careful. Certainly be careful, because not all will be what it seems. There's a square between Venus and Neptune. All that glitters is not gold, and all that looks like perfect love is likely not a true perfect love story. And this is something I'm just giving me and all of you a heads up for in the months that follow. All right, moving on to the Pisces people. So Pisces, this is a story that's very much about yourself, right? Neptune's been, am I still recording? Yep. If you're in the Zoom chat box with me and you're watching this still and you manage to get all the way through to Pisces, don't forget, it's all blurry because it's getting dark here, FYI. Don't forget to hit the like button. That so helps my channel grow and tells the algorithms to share me with other people and yada, yada. You know the drill. But if you help me grow, then I can continue to put out content because it will be a somewhat sustainable living. Thank you. And, you know, how hard is it to hit a like button? And check out my description box for everything I have, all the things on sale, and my Divine Timing Masterclass coming up in February. Get on the wait list. There will be a cap on the number of students. All right, so Pisces, it's in your house of you. You've been Neptunized ever since the end of 2011. You are already modern ruler as Neptune, but you're already the mystic poet of the zodiac. The magical, mysterious, transcendent Pisces people of the world are being fully initiated in a Neptune transit. And like Neptune is 150 years around the zodiac. So of course it's a once in a lifetime journey for all the ascendant Pisces. Very important thing. It's like initiation time for you over the last few years and into the 2026. So this energy of Neptune turning direct in the house of you is that you are now rolling forward with new visions, new dreams, new imaginations, new higher vibrations and unconditional love, new mystical transcendent awareness, new interdimensional portal activities in you, all in you. And this is great. And you might have to clear things up since June, where you thought you were on track in some of those things I've mentioned and your visionary abilities and all the things you wanted, but you had to roll back some old ground and look under the fog and see, was that true? Or was that like some kind of slimy thing that looked so good because the fog made it look good? But then when the fog rolled back and the retrograde was happening, since June 28th, you saw the flaws in your plans. Now, Venus in your 10th house of career and Mercury on the stinger shala, right? Ouch, poisonous, sharp, jab. You can't say the word jab anymore with everyone thinking of frigging vaccinations, but I mean like being jabbed or stung by something. And Venus up here is your reputation and your visible career. And if you have a job, this is a woman that's attached to your reputation or your career path. So there can be some stinging energy and maybe some spin doctoring and untruths that can come out of your career path zone from colleagues or coworkers, but more likely also bosses that are really something you have to watch for in the months that follow. You know, our 10th house can also just be our visible reputation in all ways, like, you know, me and my wife, me and my husband, that kind of thing. Venus is up here and you have maybe some poison arrows of sharp jabs around your reputation is a general thing around your money reputation or your love reputation. And so that can be stinging. And over the months that follow, also be very careful that you don't idolize somebody in the workplace, somebody in the career space. That can easily happen with this placement where you put them on a pedestal, and you have to really look carefully. Are they really all that much of a good thing or not? And, you know, be cautious and discerning. This could be like imagining your boss is the best thing since sliced bread, and in the meantime, your boss is undermining you verbally in the coworker space. So that's an example. And if you are trying to achieve something in which you're recognized in a kind of a famey way, right? Venus in the top of the sky, be careful around the downside of that. It could sting to be so celebrityed out because then people are talking about you all the time, and it can be sharp and it can sting as well. This is the house of the father, and affairs with the father could be challenging over the months that follow, with some confabulation or untruths being discussed about father. Mercury's baking in here. And I think with Nemesis and on Neptune in the house of you, you know, if anything is your nemesis, you are your own nemesis, right? You have to apportion justice to yourself. No one else is going to do it. Whatever that looks like. Sounds a little bit like a masochistic self-flagellation. But what the heck? Also, lastly, love stories in the workplace. Don't fall for somebody in the workplace. It just looks like it could happen. Somebody in the career space, the workspace. And yeah, it looks like it doesn't have enough strength because of that square to end up being overall a positive thing. Okay. All right. Thanks, Pisces. Thank you, everybody who stuck with me and you're in the description box. I mean, in the chat box with me. Thank you. My next video coming out will be about that gnarly Mars infused moon in Gemini that's happening on new moon in Gemini on December 7th, 8th. Now that's a bit of spiky sky to watch out for. Stay tuned for that video coming up shortly, and my 2023 year ahead. If you were on my mailing list, you would have gotten my Cyber Monday special. I'm recording on Cyber Monday. This goes to my Patreon community first, where you could have gotten that pre-ordered at half price. It's coming out December 10th, not to the public. I always sell my year ahead videos. There's so much labor of love, but I will be doing a 2023 all signs video, one long video with like 10 minutes for each sign, with a highlight of the most important thing for your sign. But if you want the whole Monty, you're going to have to ante up some money, and it's not a lot of money, and buy either the bundle or individual signs. Okay. And I do this every year. And then finally, by halfway through the year, like July, I will release them for free as an ethical bribe for something I'm doing, but they're never on YouTube. You never get my all signs on YouTube. You have to somehow get them through me for the 23 60-minute videos times an hour each. All right. Every freaking year I do this. All right. All right, guys. Thanks for listening. I appreciate all of you in my chat box. I don't know who's here today. Of course, this is pre-recorded, but I love the crew. It's always the same crew. It's people from Scotland, people from around the world, people from like Turkey, people from Australia. Love the international vibe in the live premiere chats. Ciao, everyone. I'll see you in the next video. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notification.